Hi there, you're watching Time Warner Cable's local edition. This is the Sacramento Report. I'm Jaime Garza. I'm sitting here with Senator Alex Padilla. Good to have you here as always.
Good to see you again.
One topic that we're going to discuss today is one I think that is dear to a lot of parents' hearts in particular, and we're talking about childhood obesity.
Right.
In the last couple of years, you've been pushing through legislation that hopefully gets us to rethink what we're putting into our mouths, into our bodies, and maybe living a little more healthy. Bring everybody up to speed on that.
Sure. Well, there's a number of bills we've worked on, but I'd consider one of the landmark bills that was vetoed the first time it got to Governor Schwarzenegger, but signed the second time and is now being implemented is what we call menu labeling. Our society is more and more going out to eat for dinner on a regular basis. And so how do we make healthy decisions when we go out to eat? We have now required, as of January 1st of this year, we've seen them up around the state in restaurants, calorie information to be posted up on the menu boards in the what they call now quick serve restaurants, not just fast food restaurants, but even in sit-down restaurants. When you open up that menu, that calorie information is going to be up there, right next to the meal option and the price, so that people can take that into account when deciding what to order.
Yeah, I've seen those where it says heart healthy to say, is this really good for me? The question though is this takes a lot of extra effort by a lot of these restaurants, and it really costs them some extra money because they have to redo their menus. But in the long term, do people really look at that information, and do they really take it to heart? Do we know that?
Well, two things. One is we'll be doing ongoing surveying and analysis to see how much it affects what people order. But if early indicators are true, we have data available from New York, for example, the first major city in America that actually required this. And on average, people reduced their caloric intake per meal about 100 calories. So it doesn't mean every single time we go out, we're going to order something that's half the calories. It's okay to splurge once in a while. But if on the average people reduce their caloric intake, then what we're doing on a societal level is reducing how much weight we're gaining. And when we reduce, how much weight we're gaining, we're reducing obesity rates, we're reducing overweight rates, and in turn we're going to reduce rates of heart disease, of hypertension, of diabetes, and all these things that are not just impacting our quality of life, but are a tremendous burden on our healthcare system and our healthcare costs.
They always say information is power, and I know that when I go out to eat, I say I'm going to have that Diet Coke because I think inside that that's going to help me balance my diet, but apparently that's not what happens. Right. And what happens in our schools too, Alex?
Well, in our schools, but the restaurant, I don't think it's a coincidence. When you walk into Starbucks today, the muffin is nowhere near the size of what it once was, because they know people are paying attention to the numbers. As you and I were growing up, did you ever imagine we'd be having the option of Kentucky grilled chicken?
Never.
So even restaurants, I think, are stepping up to the challenge of providing healthier options and alternatives. But schools is an important question. We are working with school districts and the State Department of Education to revisit what the nutrition requirements are of the food that we serve at schools. It was a big fight to come off the Depression era nutrition requirements where we established standards to try to fatten kids up because they weren't eating well at home. Now we have the opposite problem where if kids are overweight, how do we provide healthier options at schools, and making sure that we establish guidelines on a per meal basis, not a per week basis, so we balance out calories, proteins, carbohydrates, etc.
Yeah, when we went to school, you had the milk, you had this, you'd never see a Coke machine or a candy bar machine. That went that way. Now hopefully we're going backwards. We have 15 seconds left. What's your vision in the next year or two?
So one of the next steps that we need to do is we've already begun to take the sodas out of vending machines in schools, but they've been replaced by sports drinks. So we've got to take those high sugar sports drinks out of schools as well.
Got to stay on top of it. Senator Alex Padilla, always a pleasure, and always a pleasure having you at home join us right here on Time Warner Cable's local edition. This has been the Sacramento Report.